time with my family and friends ultimately took a huge toll on my health, and I crashed
Mm.
third time. And that forced me to change careers. And so after going from a high six-figure to a go-figure income just like that, I decided to follow something that was more in alignment with my values, and that was going back to school to become a medical support clinical hypnotherapist and use the power of my mind.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Ignition Path podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Goodknight. I'm super excited to introduce you to my guest today, Christian Raphael. He's with Christian Raphael Hypnotherapy and has started a new podcast that he is super excited about, and so am I, because already the information that I've heard this man say from watching his social media and stuff is going to be very, very beneficial for everyone to watch when it comes to entrepreneurs and mindset. So when it comes to his podcast, which is called VisionCast Network, Christian Raphael is going to be doing amazing things. Christian, thanks for coming to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me, Kyle. It's really appreciate you. Thank you for all you do, all your wisdom and all your hard work and knowledge. It's been really a wonderful experience to date. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
No problem. I know I can speak a little fast, and my brain is always like 10 steps ahead of most people, so I apologize for that.
Okay, I'm kind of the same way. It's like a intersection
Yeah.
here. Wow,
Yeah,
so it's all
exactly.
good. No worries, no
It's
worries.
so funny when we meet people that have the same kind of personality or thought process as us. Sometimes it's like when they're ahead of you, you're like, hold on a second, back up. And that's, I'm so glad that you say that to me, because sometimes I have to keep myself in check. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and dive deep into what VisionCast Network is all about. I'm super excited to have you explain it and what is to come in this new endeavor.
Yeah, so the idea is based on the axial age, AXIAL. The axial age was 500 to 300. Some people say 800 to 300, 800 to 200 BCE, before Christian era. And that was a time when spontaneously in largely populated areas, new ways of thinking and being came into awareness. This was the foundation of many of the Eastern religions, as well as Greek philosophy. And so this spontaneously occurred, and it was in densely populated areas. New ways of thinking, Zoroastrianism, Buddhism, Taoism, all came to being, the Upanishads. And so again, densely populated areas. What's interesting now is that I believe we are in another axial age, and it has come about because of the pandemic. Changed the way that we think about time, changed the way that how we communicate, all based on the internet. So the world is now a densely populated area, and we have the ability to communicate at the speed of internet. And so the VisionCast Network, based on intention, collaboration, and technology, gives a platform for people to talk about various healing ideas and concepts. So I interview a variety of guests based on their skills and abilities to get that information out into the world in service to humanity.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's a whole new thought process on what is being presented to us as instant consumers nowadays. That's the big thing. We're instant consumers. And when you can find a niche and a subject that it can provide value on an instantaneous basis, you've got something special. Now, real quick, what is your exactly.
Because we're glued to this, right?
Yeah,
okay,
we are.
Scroll. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
So the ability to connect in that way is potent.
Yeah, for sure. Now, real quick, just what the Ignition Path podcast is all about. And don't forget, of course, to like, share, and subscribe. When you're watching this, everybody, if you hear something that Christian says that resonates with you and you need someone else to hear the information, don't forget to share this episode. Click that little share button and just force it right there to their little inbox, all right? So they can get this same information. When it comes to your path to get here, though, you have a very interesting path. Ignition Path podcast is about entrepreneurs that have changed their life or done something new in the entrepreneurial aerospace. So real quick, before we get back into VisionCast Network podcast, tell us how you got to where you're at right now. Like I do know that you're in the corporate world. I'm not sure exactly what part of the corporate world. I hated the corporate world, so I can't even imagine if you were in it for how long you were. So tell us a little bit about your path, and then we'll get back into the VisionCast.
Yeah, so let's see here. My path. I spent 26 years in what ended up being soul draining corporate work. I remember at the pinnacle of my success, I was leaving work on a Friday night at about 9:30. So what's wrong with that picture? 9:30, thinking
you should be at home.
as far away from Monday morning as I'm going to be for the entire weekend.
Yeah.
And that visceral feeling of dread just robbed me of time with my family and friends, ultimately took a huge toll on my health. And I crashed
Mm.
for the third time. And that forced me to change careers. And so after going from a high six-figure to a go-figure income just like that, I decided to follow something that was more in alignment with my values, and that was going back to school to become a medical support clinical hypnotherapist and use the power of my mind. And so in 2013, I started building a hypnotherapy practice, which was very different lifestyle, very different approach, where I learned proven skills and techniques to help people shift their thinking and create a new reality. Our thoughts precede form. Our experience of life is our dominant thoughts manifesting. So I built a career on that, a successful career, and have decided over the last few years to start scaling that up and working with coaches that have past traumatic health experiences, which I've had a lot of, which I won't go into, but a lot of them over the years, to reshape their life in ways that are going to be in more alignment with what it is that they desire to do. And so that's my purpose. That's my passion. The secret of living is giving in my experience. And so that's what I'm doing now. So every day is a gift.
Yeah,
Every
absolutely. 100%. I mean, you know my background. I'm a paramedic, so I know that firsthand, that every day is a gift and things. I mean, I had 3 weeks ago, we had a 52-year-old and they didn't make it, and it's like, wow, it's one of those things where I'm 52, so
Right.
it's like I've seen a lot of death and destruction in my career.
Wow.
But that was one of the first times where I went, oh, snap, So when it comes to, I totally believe in the mind concept that you just spoke of. That's something else that I have learned myself over the past year. I don't believe that I'm utilizing it at the strength that I need to yet. But I know it's there and I know that it works. So many people, it's hard to convince them that your mind can be over matter. You are what your thoughts are. And so if you have negative thoughts, you're going to be negative. If you have positive thoughts, you're going to be more positive. If you have positive, inspiring, and life-changing thoughts on a daily basis with regularity, it is transformative. I've lived it. I've slipped back into negative thoughts. I've come back out of negative thoughts. I've got into positive thoughts. I know that I've been in both areas. And it's amazing that you have dedicated your life since 2013 to that thought process. I've gone through NLP classes. I've done Tony Robbins, and I believe in everything that he teaches, and Dean Graziosi. They are wonderful people, wonderful individuals, and I know that you know them well from how we got introduced. But real quick, let's get back to how you're going to utilize that in the hypnotherapy world. You're still doing hypnotherapy, but you're also now using the stuff you learned from that over the past, 11 years, 12 years, and now putting it into VisionCast.
Well, actually, it predates that. So way back in 1990, I started vehemently studying Napoleon Hill.
Okay.
Horse and Sweat Martin, and then later on, Neville Goddard. So these were all thought leaders.
Mm-hmm.
So power of the mind has always been really important to me, and finding a format and structure that's been scientifically validated to package that in is what I learned in hypnotherapy school. So really, it's not that we can, it's that we either do or we don't specifically channel our mind. We either use our mind or our mind uses us, right? We
100%.
use our mind or it uses us. And we get to decide what we desire to experience in life based on our intention. So with intention, we have the ability to create something specific. VisionCast Network is about leveraging that intention, using mind power, overcoming limiting beliefs in a way that will support us in living more of the life we desire to live. So that's really my mission in life, and it's working one-on-one with people, literally all over the world, on a weekly, monthly, or annual basis to support them in creating the life that they desire.
Right. Well, that's great. And I'm so happy. And actually this is one of those times where, am I allowed to tell our audience that's listening to this, how we met and what we're doing for one another? Am I allowed to share that?
So yeah,
it's one of those things where it's like the coach becomes the teacher, but the teacher becomes the
yes,
coach.
yes. So there's no difference, right? Sometimes
Right.
it's like baseball. Sometimes you pitch,
Yeah.
sometimes you catch.
Yeah.
Sometimes you pitch, sometimes you catch.
So,
Go ahead and
Christian and I are both coaches. I'm a podcasting coach, and he understands the power of podcasting and growing his business. So I'm coaching Christian on podcasting and all the intricacies of that. And we just got done talking about microphones, and I think pretty soon Christian will have kind of the same microphone I've got, maybe, but because it's a beautiful microphone and does a lot of great things for podcasts. But but then on the other hand, like, I'm diving into your content, brother, and I'm listening and I'm getting value from what you're putting out in the world. So it's one of those things where it's God puts you, and I'm a firm believer in this, a higher power. Let's just say it that way. I do believe in God, but for others that don't believe in God, whatever higher power you believe in, I believe they put you in the path of the right people if you just listen to the messages that they're sending you.
Yeah.
So when Christian was put in my path, and it took a while for us to get to where we're at now, but it never felt rushed. It never felt, except for when I'm trying to explain something to you. No, I feel like I'm rushing you. I'm sorry. But no, the relationship never felt rushed. It never felt like, oh, Christian's never going to talk to me again. It was just like, it was this mutual feeling that we can help each other somehow. And maybe right now I'm helping him more than he's helping me, other than when it comes to the content that I watch. But it's going to be, I can already tell you right now, this should be a lifelong friendship now. And is my belief, because
Absolutely. Can I jump onto that for just a second?
Absolutely. 100%.
So thoughts are things. They're an electrical magnetic current. And energy cannot be destroyed. It's either created or it is shifted into some other expression, right? And so we've put out into the field a thought that's like, oh, I resonate with that. And now here's Kyle, because I met you, Kyle, through a colleague and friend, Bambi Corso Steenmeyer.
Yep.
Said, oh, you need to talk to this guy. So I sent you off an email, and this was like right in the middle of like the super busy season. And we got together and then went apart and came together and went apart because of all the things that are going on in our life. But yeah, it's the presence of that intention, releasing that intention into the field of infinite possibility, in my opinion, spirit, source, higher power, infinite intelligence, whatever one chooses to call it, is timeless. It's timeless. And so in that timelessness, there's a settling in and the listening to that still, quiet voice that then leads us to where we are now and leads us to where we are today and leads us to wherever it is that we are going in the future. And for that, I have deep gratitude, deep gratitude. Because all we have, the one that didn't make it the other day.
Yeah.
You've seen a lot of that.
Yeah.
My teacher, mentor, dear friend was a paramedic.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. And he decided he was going to switch his career because he desired to be on the front end of the preventative process as opposed to the back end of, arriving on scene
and trying
trying
to fix it.
figure
Yeah.
out how to keep somebody
Do
from
I have
code.
the power to fix this? Yeah.
Yeah. So, too many people code.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well,
anyway,
and that's what's great about, us getting to know each other better every time we have our meetings and teaching each other things. One thing that I know that I have indefinitely needed help with for my entire life is the patience and the speed of explanation. And you help me with that, because when I come into your meetings, I tell myself I have to make sure I'm slow. Now, when I ramp back up and you say, "Hey, Kyle, slow back down," I'm like, okay, and I come back down. So you don't understand how much value you're giving me just when we have our meeting. So I appreciate that.
love
So,
it.
but yeah, I
Thank
know
you
you're
so
short
much.
for time and you got to get rolling to your next big thing and get out there to help people in whatever you're doing. So I'll wrap this up now. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Ignition Path podcast. Once again, Christian Raphael with VisionCast Network podcast. You can find it on all major platforms, Spotify, Apple. He has a YouTube channel. All that stuff will be in the description below, and you can click and go. And great things are coming. Great things are coming if you tune into that podcast. I cannot wait for you.
And there's always my website, which will also be in the description, right? Christian Raphael, hypnotherapy.com.
Right. Beautiful website, by the way. I love the look of your website. So
Thank you. Appreciate it.
and you explained to me what the logo looked like, and I'm like, oh, I love that. So that'll be another show. So
Okay, Kyle, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
thanks so much. Bye, Christian. Take care.
Catch you on the B side.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Ignition Path, fueling the entrepreneurial fire.